So there's Farewell to Ireland. That's a 4-part tune. It's an A modal tune, so we're really just going between an A chord and a G chord. So there's 2 main arpeggio patterns that we really need to be aware of when we're playing it on fiddle. It's going to be A minor and G major. A, C, E, G, B, D. And you need that in both octaves. So A, C, E, G, B, D. And make sure you can go all the way up and down both octaves and not get lost. So we've got A, 2-octave arpeggio, A minor. High A. Low A. And then G, 2-octave arpeggio, G major. High G. And then we could do a little exercise that I just made up. A minor, and then right into the low note we'll switch chords. So A chord, A arpeggio. Switch G. So when those 2 patterns are comfortable, the whole tune will become so much simpler because you can call on those patterns. And hopefully obviously we're not going to just play straight arpeggios, but there's so many times when we're taking those patterns in parts and pieces in different ways. So here's the first part. We start up bow on the low A. So and you'll see there's that A arpeggio right there. It's the first 3 notes. So that's the first part. There's this funny little chord shape that ends up happening, which is a G and then the low A. So this is like going from the G chord to the A chord. Such a funny little thing that happens there. So have that ready to go. G on the D string with the low A. That's the transition shape. So here we go. Or if I'm starting for the first time, I go with the open G. But you said those are the same thing? Or harmonically they're the same, right? Okay, so. Octave. Except when I'm gonna go into the next part, I usually skip that G and just stay on the A, so that because the next note's on the E string for the B part. So repeat that. So just hold along A so that you can be ready for the second half. Sorry, the second part, which starts on a high A. So if we're on the open A, here we are on the B part. Okay, so that was the whole B part with repeats. Let me just break down a couple things in there, pull out some arpeggios, because like now we're in the second octave, everything feels different. So like I said, we start on the high A, so obviously we're in A for the first, I think all the parts start in A because the tune is in A, and then the G chord is like the contrast, right? So we're in A, we're doing all these like scaly turn things. Right there, we're doing all these crossings, right? And it's not as scaly. So first we're doing scales, and then we start doing some more arpeggio type patterns. So it's really good to pull this out. It's not really an arpeggio, but you can feel the G and the D. And so the framework for that little thing, whatever that is, because it's D and an E and a G. So it's not really an arpeggio, but it feels like a G chord. And then we go back to A. And then to G. There is the arpeggio. So that is an actual G arpeggio inversion. So again, from the start of the second part, we go like this. A, G. Again, lots of turns. But then we have an arpeggio. So because we're going down 3 strings at once, it can start feeling like, we're skipping so many notes. How do you even know where we're going? Arpeggios. We're just going backwards down a G arpeggio. But that's a place where a lot of people get lost because we are going across 3 strings. That's why you have to practice your arpeggios so that they really are so strong. You can call on them when you need them. Okay, so again, second part. So hopefully that helped. Here's the third part. Now we have a lot of rolls. So we've got, ooh, spicy. Ooh. All right, we'll take it. So we've got open E and open A. That's kind of all that's happening, and then we're going to roll the A. So an A roll. This is a really good one to do if you're still like not super comfortable with rolls. I would still recommend trying this one because it only requires 2 fingers. Most full rolls have a 3rd finger involved, but because you've got the open string, it's kind of a nice cheater one. And so you can't really go below the A string quick enough, so we're going to just cut that note out. So the A roll sounds like this. A, C, B, A. Da, dee, da, da. So we're gonna go. Oh, there's your arpeggio. Haha. All right, here we go. I'll play the whole C part, the third part. Starts on the open E. I'll play it twice through without stopping. Here we go. 1 and 2. Here we go. So just a reminder that you can switch out if the roll of with your fingers is not feeling super comfortable. You can get pretty much the same sound with the bow, and do a bow triplet instead of the roll, and it'll have a similar effect. So that one's a little bit easier to do for some people. If you do that, the bowing changes a little bit, and you'll have to slur out on a down bow. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Or you can do them both when you get bored. Oh, but then I do have to kind of change that slur out, because if you do it on the second one, I want to be up bow here, because I like doing that arpeggio part on a down bow. There's it's so easy to get lost in that, because there's just so much open string that you can really, I oftentimes over adorn that, because it can get kind of boring once you've played it a lot. Let me simplify it for those of you that are learning it for the first time though, and take out some of those, because I keep putting it sometimes, and I keep putting 3 ornaments, and that's probably confusing. So let me take those out, and we'll just do this. That would be the most simplified part. I'll try to do the same thing every time, so you can get a better idea of how to count that. So there's 2 main ornaments every time. 1, 2, and then I slur that in. You don't have to, but I like to. Same 2. Just kidding, that one has a long A. If you don't slur there, you kind of have to add in another weird slur to get. I really want to be down bow on that G, because you can hit a nice double stop and really emphasize the fact that the chord has changed. Okay, so that was probably enough talking about the C part. Here's the last part. This one is just arpeggios. Yay! Right, so that's a A arpeggio backwards, right? From high A. Oh, actually it goes to A major for a second, so there's a C sharp now. And then back to G natural. So you can see most of that's the same as the C part. So just a real quick note before I'll play through the D part all the way through. It's just high arpeggio A, high arpeggio G, and then into the same part as the C part. So the first part is pretty unique, with the low part, and then jumping to the high octave. And then the second part, the ending for the second part is just a scale. and then the little tag. But on the E string, it's just scalar. It moves in a scalar fashion. Yeah, that's a word. So that's the ending for the B part. The C part, it skips up to the high A. And the last part does the same, the D part. Skip. And if you're going back to the beginning, that weird G and the low A. Cool. That's what gets you back to the beginning. So here is the D part. And then maybe I'll pause and then run through the whole tune again so we can suffer together. Here we go. Test our memories. Here's the D part. Starting with a high A, backwards arpeggio. Oh, sorry, here we go. Repeat B part, or D part. That's right. realized something as I was playing, just a better explanation for that triplet, like, ending. It is really helpful to sneak that bowing in at the end of a lot of those phrases. So like in the C part, is a good example. Right there. It's really grounding to put it at the end of a lot of those phrases, and in the D part as well, if that's comfortable to you. If that's confusing, you can kind of just pause at the end. But you know, if you pause, you're kind of stopping the energy of the tune, and sometimes it can feel a little less stable. So I would recommend this bowing for that C part. Down, up, down, up. There's your oboe slur. So that's what I would do coming down that most of the time. It's a really good one to practice. So slurring up bow, rip, cut, bow triplet, slur out of it. So up, rip, cut. That's the cut, but it's badyada, badyada. B, cut with the G, back to the B, open to the A. Triple it out. Forgot that one jumps. All right, my brain just died. Hopefully that's more than enough. Good luck. See you soon.